The desert that night was colder than any winter the wandering scout, Mateo, had ever known. The wind scraped across the cracked earth, like the breath of something ancient and angry. His horse had died 2 days ago, his food a day after, and the last thing keeping him from collapsing was sheer stubbornness and a prayer he barely remembered how to say. He staggered between boulders, looking for anything that resembled shelter. The sky was moonless, the stars sharp like distant knives. The land felt haunted, and every shadow seemed to breathe. Mateo had heard stories about the high mesas of the north, stories of spirits, giants and ancient warriors whose blood still simmered in the soil. He never believed any of them until he heard the sound. Not footsteps, not the howl of a coyote, but a thud followed by another. The ground trembling faintly, like the heartbeat of the earth had grown louder. Mateo froze. The thuds grew closer. From behind a ridge a massive silhouette rose, towering, powerful, unmistakably human in shape. The figure stepped forward, and moonlight finally broke through the cloud cover, spilling across her. She was enormous, easily 20 feet tall, her skin painted in the colors of Apache war tradition, lines of red and black marking her cheeks and arms. Her long hair hung in powerful braids, decorated with eagle feathers larger than Mateo's entire arm. A massive spear rested across her back, carved with symbols he didn't recognize. Her eyes, dark, ancient, and sharp, locked onto him. "Ты заблудился," she said in a deep, resonant voice that seemed to vibrate inside his ribs. Mateo stumbled back. I'm only looking for shelter. I mean no harm." She studied him, her expression unreadable. «Здесь нет случайных путников», she replied. «Эта земля выбирает, кого привести. This land chooses whom to bring». The wind grew harsher, stinging Mateo's face. The giantess crouched, her shadow swallowing him whole. "You stand on sacred ground," she said. "And sacred ground demands purpose." Her gaze softened just slightly, not with kindness, but with understanding. «Если хочешь жить», she murmured, «тебе нужно доказать, что ты стоишь того». The desert fell silent around them, as though holding its breath. And Mateo realized his life was now in the hands of someone, or something far greater than he had ever imagined. The giant Apache, towering and unmoving, watched Mateo with the patience of a mountain. Her eyes reflected the cold desert starlight, unreadable yet undeniably aware of every twitch of fear in his body. Mateo swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her presence settle over him like a shroud. «Как тебя зовут?» she asked finally. Her voice didn't echo. It rolled as though the ground itself repeated her words. «Mateo», he managed. «Mateo Rivas». She nodded slowly, as if committing the name to some ancient ledger. «Я Нахлей, последняя, кто помнит завет Великой Скалы. I am Naklai, the last one who remembers the covenant of the great rock». Mateo didn't know what that meant, but every instinct screamed that it was important. Naklai reached to her belt and produced something the size of a shield, but shaped like a bowl. «Ты голоден», she said. «Ish». Inside it was shredded dried meat and roasted agave, scaled to her size but smelling better than anything Mateo had encountered in days. His hesitation lasted half a heartbeat. Survival won quickly. He ate, each bite warming him from the inside. «Why help me?" he asked when his strength began returning. Naklai sat back, the earth rumbling beneath her. «Я не помогаю. Я проверяю». I am not helping. I am testing. A cold shiver ran through him. Testing me for what? Her lips tightened, not in anger, but in the weight of memory. «Есть знак», she said. «Земля шепчет о человеке, который придет с запада. Тот, кто увидит каменное сердце». There is a sign, the land whispers, of a man who will come from the west, one who will see the stone heart. Mateo frowned. I don't know anything about a stone heart. Naklay leaned forward, her face filling his world. Все говорят так, пока земля не выберет. Everyone says that until the land chooses. Mateo nearly stepped back, but her gaze held him still. She extended a hand the size of a wagon. Пойдем. Ночь опасная. Но путь еще опаснее. Come, the night is dangerous. But the path is even more dangerous. He hesitated only a moment before stepping onto her offered palm. It was warm, surprisingly steady. She lifted him gently to her shoulder, where he could see miles of dark desert stretching to the horizon. In the distance, storm clouds gathered unnaturally fast, flashing with reddish light. Mateo felt a chill run straight to his bones. Naklay. What is that? Znak, she said grimly. Твои испытания только начинаются. The sign, your trials are only beginning. The storm ahead was unlike anything Mateo had ever seen. Crimson lightning forked across the sky, illuminating jagged mesas that seemed to rise like the spines of sleeping beasts. Dust whipped around Naklay's massive form, yet she moved with a steady, almost effortless grace, her eyes fixed on the horizon as if reading some invisible map. Mateo clung to her shoulder, his heart hammering not just from fear, but from the thrill of standing beside a force of nature. Where are we going? He shouted over the roaring wind. To the Stoneheart, Naklay replied, her voice calm and unyielding. There it waits untouched for centuries, but many have sought it and failed. Mateo swallowed. Why me? Why now? Her gaze softened fractionally, and for the first time, Mateo sensed something human beneath the colossal warrior. Земля выбрала, she said. The land chooses those who are ready. Some refuse the challenge and vanish. Forever. The words chilled him more than the storm. Yet as he looked at the desert below, he realized the storm's fury seemed almost alive, as though testing them, shaking the earth to see who would falter. Naklay's footsteps were deliberate, each one leaving an imprint that would remain long after the storm passed. Hours, or perhaps minutes, Mateo had lost all sense of time passed. Finally, Naklay paused atop a ridge. Below them, carved into the side of the largest mesa, was a cavern shimmering with a faint golden light. Its entrance was shaped like a massive heart, veins of stone and crystal pulsing as if breathing. The stone heart, she whispered, reverence in her voice. Mateo felt awe strike him dumb. It's alive. In a way, Naklay admitted, but it does not awaken for the weak. You must prove your worth. Before he could respond, shadows moved within the cavern. Figures cloaked in black stepped forward, their faces hidden, weapons gleaming faintly in the strange light. Mateo's fear surged. This was a trial of more than courage. It was a test of life itself. Naklay's hand moved like lightning, and Mateo felt the ground shake as she summoned a roar that made the shadows hesitate. Step forward if you dare, she commanded, voice booming. The Stoneheart sees all, judges all. Mateo clenched his fists. His journey had brought him from starvation and fear to this impossible moment. On the shoulder of a giant warrior, facing forces beyond his understanding, he realized he had a choice: retreat and perish in the desert, or step forward and risk everything for a chance to claim something eternal. Taking a deep breath, he nodded. I'm ready. Naklay's lips curved in the smallest hint of a smile. Then let the trial begin. The wind howled, the sky cracked, and the desert itself seemed to hold its breath as man and giant prepared to face the Stoneheart together. A moment that would change everything.